she kind of feels like a just like a cooler version of myself. So um it seemed like it'd be a lot of fun to get to play Brooke and kind of like dive into this world. And so yeah, definitely. I mean, from reading the script, I was all in. I like was very excited about the project.
And Mika, when I saw this movie and I saw the trailer before I saw the movie in person, I got the feel of the Goldbergs. I got the feel of the Wonder Years. It almost that transportation back
Mhm.
into the time in terms of the early sort of 90s. And heading to shoot to film this in Nebraska, did that make it all bring even add more realism to it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're so lucky that we got to actually shoot in the place that the movie's set. You know, you a lot of the times don't get to do that, especially when it's set in like an obscure place like Nebraska City. But yeah, the city really is its own character in the film, and it made our job so much easier. You know, Adam, that's where Adam grew up, and he told us that not a lot had changed since the 90s. And so, you know, we spent the first we all went there about a week or two before production actually started, and just would kind of walk around town with Adam, and he'd point at little like storefronts or shops or streets and say, you know, oh, my friends and I did this here, this would happen here. And we hung out at the pool and kind of just lived the life of the movie in the place that it was set. And yeah, it just made it so, you know, immersive and so easy to get into the world of the film because we were literally living in the world of the film.
And Mika, obviously, you mentioned there the pool and the shed in terms of the movie, and two sort of common every day to day sort of scenes and backgrounds that you would find in most back gardens, dare I say, in the United States in terms of the sort of family life, especially in the sort of sunny states, at least, anyway. So the concept, it shows that you don't need to have multi-million dollar sets, you don't need to have green screens, you don't need to have things dropping out of the sky. That a simple thing like a swimming pool and a shed can be just lay itself on for a bundle of laughs, a bundle of enjoyment, and can create a masterpiece, dare I say.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the you know, our equipment, I was actually just talking about this. Oh, I was just talking about this. The equipment almost didn't match the location because, you know, we had all the big trailers and we had, you know, all the big cameras and you know, the dollies and you know, all the technology that you see on these bigger sets. And then we're shooting in like some woman's backyard, or, you know, like some people just so happen to let us use their storefront. So yeah, it was very unique, very interesting. I've never we had no actually the only set that was built was the snack shack. That they built the shack for the film. But they still actually use it as a functional snack shack. The real shack at the pool was actually like part of a larger building and not as cute. But other than that, we didn't have one set. Everything was a location. Which is so fun. I mean, that's like I love doing that. I love that. Yeah, it was very unique.
And I suppose, Mika, some of these sort of movies as well, these sort of teen movies, they're geared towards the prom elements, they're geared to the 17, 18 catchphrase, or some type of movies, then they're young child movies, maybe 12 or under in terms of those sort of sense of appeal. But long forgotten has been the sort of 14 to 16-year-old bracket. And
Yeah.
this is what we find sort of Snack Shack in. And did you have to sort of maybe as yourself, maybe relive or think to yourself of what you were like as a 15 or a 16-year-old? Was it hard to get into that time frame? I imagine it's much easier to play an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old because that's relatively close to you. But as a 15, as a sort of 16-year-old, is that a difficult time to portray in a youngster sort of life, and maybe sort of capture those sort of innocence, dare I say, those hormones bubbling for the first time.
Mhm.
It's not over seductive. It's more like child's play, child's sort of crush.
Yeah, at times, you know, especially during the, you know, more intimate scenes that are in the film, like that was definitely an object of consideration. But honestly, you know, my character is very much, older than her years. She's traveled a lot. She's a military brat, so she's been around and she's had to learn a lot of life lessons really young. And so I feel like less so for my character did I really have to get into the mind of a young kid, or, a younger person. But yeah, certainly those more intimate, tender scenes, no matter how mature Brooke is, from being well traveled, there's just things that are happening for the first time and are confusing and scary. And um yeah. But I mean, honestly, again, just getting into the world of the film by being in Nebraska City and hanging out with the boys and building those kind of relationships with them, uh just yeah, I feel like the character work was really just so minimal. Adam was so open about, trying new things out and having conversations about, well, what does Brooke mean when she says this? And where do you think she's coming from when she says this? And, do you think she's ever kissed a boy before? Do you think this is her first time doing, XYZ? Um, yeah, a lot of those conversations were had, but it all felt pretty natural.
And Mika, in terms of landing the role of Brooke, was there chemistry reads with Connor or Gabriel
Yeah.
at that time? Were you all sort of trying out at the one time? Were you all put together in terms of, or were you all cast around the same time? Dare
Yeah.
I say that's
Yeah, we did do a chemistry read. There were a couple of different people auditioning for Brooke and AJ and Moose. And yeah, they did pair all three of us together at one point. And yeah, the energy just felt different. We all kind of fell into our characters in a really fun way during that specific read. And it's funny, I mean, like, truly, I talked to Connor, who plays AJ, more than anybody else in the chemistry read. Like, him and I really did like meet in like the common room and then end up talking to each other for like, the whole time we were there. Um, so yeah, I guess it all just kind of worked out in a fun way. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mika, in terms of the movie now, it's been out since March the 7th, obviously going down to rave reviews. Are you sort of taken back by the popularity? How's the publicity been like since the movie has been released? Are you sort
Mhm.
of enjoying, dare I say, not the real aftermath, but dare I say, the current climate you face
Yeah.
now, all the before movie anticipation hype? Will it be sort of seen as a sort of success? You can now sort of sit back. Is this the part of the period you enjoy, or is there a bit of sadness knowing that you won't be going back onto the set with these people again, and not in the near future anyway?
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. We just Connor and I did just fly back to Nebraska City with Adam and one of our producers, Charles, to screen the movie in the theater that we shot in, Nebraska City. We stayed in the same lodge and everything, and it was all very like sentimental and emotional and really just like a special kind of send off for the whole thing. And when we left Nebraska City, we all kind of Connor had to come back to do a some press, and I was going to Dallas to do my own screening with my family, and Charles was going back to LA, and Adam was going back home. And it was kind of like, oh man, I'm not going to see these people again. Like, we're never really going to be, not that I'm not going to see them again, but we're not going to be gathered for Snack Shack again. Um, and it was just really sad. I mean, I still see them all the time. I saw Connor 5 minutes ago, and I'm gonna see Connor or Charles later this week. Like, we still hang out, but it is definitely very bittersweet to kind of, 2 years after we shoot the movie, have it come out and get this, big fun release where everyone does seem to really love it, and we're getting to watch it in theater after theater, and um, it's so special. And yeah, now that it's kind of coming to an end, it's very, very, very bittersweet. But maybe we'll do more press in the future. Maybe we'll all do a little reunion trip to Nebraska. Um, like I said, we're all still so close. Um, but yeah, just knowing that, like, okay, the next time we all gather, it's not going to be for Snack Shack. It's just going to be because we're friends.